In today's video, I'm going to take you on a highly requested tour of my wardrobes. And I say wardrobes because I am blessed with space here in my house and I actually have more than one. But a while back, I posted a photo of my entire clothing collection on my social medias, and the comments were actually very surprised that I don't have more clothes than what I actually do. And I think I have a lot of clothes, but I thought now that I have the room tidied and reorganized and I've had a good wardrobe clear out, I would show you what it actually looks like. So yes, I am a personal stylist. I am blessed with a lot more clothes than probably many people have, but I was surprised that people thought that I didn't have a lot of clothes. But anyway, let me give you a wardrobe tour and I'll show you a few of my favorite pieces. I am so blessed that I have a wardrobe in my house just for my shoes. This is the other side of the bedroom. You can see the bed is over there and this is where I normally film, and then you go in here to the shoe wardrobe. And yet another baby gate, because if there was no gate here, I would have no shoes left. My little puppy Lloydie, she would go and eat every single pair of shoes that I have. And I do have an excessive amount of shoes, I admit, but they are my pride and joy. I'll be honest with you. I have always collected shoes, and some of these shoes are years old. In fairness, I have just gotten rid of a whole load. The boxes that I have up there on the top, they used to have shoes in them as well that I wasn't wearing too much, but because I wasn't wearing them, I thought, what am I keeping them for? So I actually sold a whole load, and a few of them were so well worn that it was time for them to go. Now, the other side is my husband's shoes are up here on the top shelves, and then I have boots down the bottom, and then on the other side here, sorry, it's a bit messy up there because my daughter was traveling at the weekend and used my bags, but I have small little bags here. I mainly use them for styling or if I have a night out. And then these boxes here as well were full of especially runners and trainers and stuff. And again, I got rid of a whole load because I simply just don't use them. So down the bottom, I can zoom in a little bit there. A bag of shoes simply because there's no space for them. And then I have a couple of handbags, and then it's just handbags in the back. That storage I have down there, my husband, he built all this himself. I actually have shelves in there in the corner, can you see in there? And I have bags in that and there in the other side as well. So he built that in. The units I think were just from IKEA or something like that. I don't know where we bought them. And then we hung up this unit here in the middle, just where I can put some bags in. And you may wonder, why do you have pool noodles in your wardrobe, Marleen? I have, because I actually use them, so I might get myself out of the shadow, in my long shafted boots. I put a pool noodle in it so it doesn't collapse and it can just stay. And then again, because I got rid of a pair of shoes and I have a spare noodle in there. So that's what that is for. So it looks very, very messy on the surface when you're just looking in here, but it is highly organized as everything else in my wardrobe. You can see I have them color coded. They kind of go in gradient and color in the neutral colors. And then on the inside here, I have more colorful shoes. So, and then into trainers and extra boots and stuff. So, and then all my boots are on the other side. So my boots needs to be kind of gotten rid of, but I wanted to do that after the winter to see which ones I actually worn, which ones I didn't. So they'll kind of be next to be cold. But yeah, that is my shoe wardrobe and it's my pride and joy. I love it. Absolutely love even just walking past and seeing all my shoes. So let me just show you my favorite shoes. They are down here. They are up here and they're dusty AF because I haven't worn them forever. But they are from Katy Perry. And my husband actually bought them for me as a present. And I just love them. They require a special outfit because it's like a dicky bow there in the front there with gems on it. So they're my favorite. And my new handbag that you may have seen. And my blue handbag is there, the one from River Island that I was debating forever whether or not I should buy it. So, but they're my favorite shoes there, and they just stand in there and looking pretty. And the rest, mainly everyday shoes. As I say, a few more needs to be cold, but we do it as we go along. We don't need to be harsh when we're doing shoes. I just get rid of them as I look through them and see what I wear or don't wear. I'm just quickly going to show you the shoe storage, and I use these little plastic contraptions. I found them on Amazon and they just hold the whole pair of shoes so you can still see the shoes. Very nice and easy, but the opposite shoe or the other shoe is in the back there. And I love the fact because you can adjust the height of these. So for these ones here, which have a higher heel, you see I've just moved this little piece here and just made the gap in the back higher to fit the shoes. So they're very, very handy. They were very inexpensive, and I say I got them on Amazon. I should see if I can find them and I'll link them in the description box for you. But I absolutely love those little contraptions, and it just means that my shoe can stay nice and organized and I can always find both shoes. My wardrobe was my son's bedroom, and baby gate yet again. We have baby gates everywhere in the house. And when you go into it, on the doors, I have my belts hanging. These are my most used belts. And then when you come in on the other side, we have the rails. I'm just close the door there as well. So this is what my wardrobe looks like this. And once again, our carpets are absolutely destroyed since we're having the puppies. And just a ring light there for filming, and hi. And on the other side of the door, I have more belt storage. So that is my wardrobe in its full extent. This is all the clothes I own apart from my pajamas. Can I zoom out? No, it won't let me zoom out anymore. Apart from my pajamas, my underwear and my workout gear, this is all my clothes that you see here. That is literally it. But if you come to the first rail, the pieces I have hanging here to the side, that's 2 jackets. On this side of that rail, I hang pieces that I'm a little bit unsure of, meaning I'm not quite sure if I'm going to keep them or if they're going to go or what I'm going to do with them, meaning I have to make a couple of outfits with them. And then we go into my shorts. I own 3 pair of shorts, and then I have my skirts, and then it goes into my dresses, including my little slip dress, which of course falls off the hanger. I have the slip dress hanging there because if I need it, I know exactly where it is. But that is the extent of my dresses. I don't have that many dresses. It's a collection I'm building on. I'm looking for dresses that I can work with, you know, from the day to night kind of look. And then up on the top here, if we swing around a little bit, I have scarves hanging up here. I don't use scarves for very much except for warmth. Basically, they're not, I do make them part of my outfit, but not as an accessory to wear. They are there for practicalities, if that makes sense. So I do have a few colors, including my favorite. Here's a knitted one my husband gave me a few years ago. He was out traveling for business and he brought that home for me, and I absolutely love it. So that's my favorite. The rest of them are more kind of like pashmina kind of things. But yeah, that's my scarves. And then I have these 2 things hanging here. This is a little shirt collar and a little shirt bottom, and they're handy little things, especially for creating outfits. But I don't use them that much, but they're kind of those pieces that are handy to have. Below then I have my trousers, including suits. So again, things are color coordinated. Everything in my life is color coordinated, to be honest with you, or alphabetically organized if need be. So we're starting off with summer trousers. These are my linen trousers that I don't really wear all that terribly much. Then we go into jeans, again, color coordinated. And then we go into my wide leg trousers. And in here you can see there is actually this here. I have a 3-piece suit, and I have the 3 pieces hanging together. So we have the jacket, the waistcoat and the trousers, and they hang together. And then we go into the next, and this one here has a waistcoat, so the waistcoat hang with it. Do you see that? So I have the full suit. The trousers I'm missing for that because they're out for repairs. But yeah, so I have the full suit hanging together again, and then hanging it into color coordinated. So that's how I do that. But that's all my trousers. And then up at the top here, we're starting off with tank tops, and then I have t-shirt, and then I have long sleeves, I have blouses, and then we go into fine knits at the end here. And I know it looks very messy, but each section is actually color organized, which I love. Again, I have quite a lot of blouses, a lot of t-shirts, but again, a lot of it is just basics. I have all that there. That is basically just basic t-shirts with long sleeves or short sleeves. So, and then my blouses and my fine knits that I wear all the time. And then below that, we have heavier knits. And then I have cardigans, and then I have blazers. And you can see there's an empty hanger hanging there. That is for the blazers that I'm wearing today. And that's how I do it. I just leave the hanger so I know that that's where the blazer goes. And when I take off the blazer this evening when I'm finished working, I will hang it up to the side here. Move that over. I will hang it here to air out until I am kind of feeling that it's ready to go back in again. So that's how I do that. And then off to the side, this is my casual clothes. This is I have my thermal underwear hanging here, which I use all winter long because I'm always cold. I have a couple of jumpers, which are just kind of like, they're kind of like, I only wear them on a Sunday, if you know what I mean. I have my leggings, I have some tracksuit bottoms, and then I have like just a like knitted set, and then I have my tracksuit hanging there. So that's kind of how I hang there. That's just kind of like, you know, Sunday wear basically. And then I have my coats. So we're starting off with my trench coats, and then you go into my other coat, and then you have more like practical wear, like a real winter coat, marine coat. And this is one when we're outside like doing gardening work or something like that, I put that one on. So that's kind of how they hang. So it looks very messy, but it's actually organized. Oh, and my favorite piece, I'll show you that in a minute. That is the extent of my wardrobe. That is all the clothes that I own. But let me pull out a few of my favorite pieces to show you. All the pieces I have hanging in my wardrobe are here for a reason. They are hanging in my wardrobe because I love them, because they have the perfect fit, and because they work for my personal aesthetic. As I said, the only two pieces right now that I'm not sure of are those two jackets here. And they're kind of like different styles, shorter kind of jacket. And I'm just not 100% sure that they are for me. I love them, but ever since I bought them, I haven't worn them. And that's why they get hanging there. So I will take the time to actually figure out whether or not they deserve a place. But everything else in here, I love it and I wear it. And my latest acquisition for my wardrobe is a faux fur. You would have seen it in my trend video I did a week or two ago, and I'm absolutely obsessed with it. It is so out of my comfort zone to wear faux fur because it's a bulky piece. And because, as you know, us apple shapes are top heavy anyway. So when we put a bulk at the top, we have to balance it out. So it's not the easiest piece for me to style, but I'm so in love with it that I thought I'm going to keep it. I'm going to allow myself to keep it and to work my magic with it. And I also think this is a piece I'm going to have in my wardrobe for years to come. One of my other favorite pieces, again, it's one of those pieces that are out of my comfort zone. You would have seen it here over the last couple of summers. And it's a shorter shirt, but it has all these holes in it. So it's not particularly practical. And I decided to keep this shirt because it's just very, very different. I haven't used it all that terribly much because I'm a person that's always cold. So styling this is not the easiest. But sometimes it's just fun to have a few pieces in our wardrobe that pushes it out of the comfort zone, allows us to have fun with fashion. And I love it. And again, it's one of those pieces I can have hanging in my wardrobe for years. So even if it only comes out once a year, I'm happy with that. I just love it so much. Now this red shirt here is one, quality is amazing. I picked it up on Shein a while back, but ever since I bought it, I haven't worn it. And hence why I'm highlighting it, because it's a plain and simple shirt. It's very figure hugging. It's a little bit on the long side, but it's fantastic. And it matches with so much else in my wardrobe. So why haven't I picked it up? And I haven't quite taken the time to analyze why I haven't picked it up yet. And that's why I'm moving it down to the two jackets here, because this is a piece that I need to work with. It is a piece that I have to take the time to figure out why I'm not wearing it, analyze it, and then decide what I'm going to do with it. And that's how I curate my wardrobe. As I said to you, a lot of the things, especially at the top, they are basics. Some of them have been hanging there for years. And I use them on rotation non-stop. And that's why I have so many of them. But they're not pieces that causes me any issues. But when I have a shirt or a jacket like that there, I don't want it hanging there just for the sake of hanging there. I only want pieces in my wardrobe that I actually wear, which is why those pieces are going to be analyzed. It wouldn't be a Marleen video if there was no mention of wide leg trousers, because as you know, as an apple shape, I swear by the wide leg trousers. Pretty much 99% of all the trousers I have in that entire section are wide leg. I think there's 2, maybe 3 pairs that are more towards the straight leg. I have 1 tapered pair, and that is it. The rest are just wide leg trousers. My favorite ones are the ones that I got from the Unused collection on Shein, and I have worn them to death. The black ones, which were the first ones that I bought, I'm on my second pair because I simply wore out the first ones. Don't forget, I have 4 dogs, all right? My clothes go through the mill. But these are the ones, they're just easier to show you in this color here. And they are absolutely fantastic. Quality is amazing, and they hide my tummy instantly, and I'm obsessed with them. Hence why I have them in pretty much every color they have ever come out with. And I actually have, I think I have 2 of the burgundy ones and I have 2 of the brown ones. That's how much I wear them. But wide leg trousers as an apple shape, in my personal opinion, is an absolute must. And these ones are my favorite. Hence why I have them in so many different colors. My wardrobe in general is very timeless, very classic. All the pieces that I have hanging in here, or let's say 90% of everything I have hanging in here, could still be hanging here in about 5 years, 10 years time. I love a clean and classic style. It just suits me very well. I'm also of the opinion, and this is just my opinion, that as an apple shape, a fuss-free wardrobe suits us the best. As you can tell, I don't have a lot of colors, and the colors that I have are more muted. There is, of course, a few pieces that stands out. Of course there is, but all together, look at it collectively, it is more muted on the darker side. But that is what I prefer. That is what I love. That's the style I think suits me, and it's very easy put together. The key to a good wardrobe, in my personal opinion, is having pieces that work well together. Normally I would have a capsule hanging to one side, but because I've just redone my wardrobe, I actually hung everything back in the groups where it belongs. I would like another rail in here. Normally the rail there behind me is actually where my everyday basic capsule hangs on. And I used to have the dresses here where the lights is now. So I'd like another rail in here so I can get my dresses and shorts and skirts moved over there. And I once again can use that rail to build the little capsules on. The way I store my clothes is very important as well. I am a person that hangs everything. And I will, as a personal stylist, always tell you to always take your knitwear and lay it on a shelf rather than hanging it up. But if, like me, you prefer to have everything hanging, it's very important that you have the right hangers. For most things here in my wardrobe, you will see these black thin flocked hangers or velvety kind of style hangers. The reason why I use these velvety style hangers is because the clothes do not slide on it. And if it's not a heavy knit, this is the hanger that I use for it as well. If I have a heavy knit, some of them, I would actually just use 2 of the same hangers and give it a little bit more width, and that'll be sturdy enough for the knitwear. But as a personal stylist, I would tell you to actually lay your knitwear down just so it doesn't stretch. It's just because I like it visually this way, and this is just how it works for me. For anything that's a little bit more structured, especially like my blazers, some of my dresses, I use wooden hangers simply because they have a little bit more up to them. They're a little bit stronger, they're a little bit thicker, and I use the ones that have a slight curve to it. Can you see that? Not all of mine are curved, but most of them are, and it just gives a bit more structure to help with the blazer or the dress. So I use those as well. And then for trousers or skirts or shorts, I use these little clip hangers. So they have this little peg kind of in the end, and the ones I have, because I'm plus size, if you buy a standard one, it is about 25-30 centimeters long or something like that. These ones are extra long, and I think they're 40 centimeters long, and it just works better for my clothes. But it allows my pieces to hang on the hanger nice and sturdy. And I iron everything before it comes into my wardrobe, and because the pegs has a little bit of width to them, the hangers doesn't clank together and make everything too kind of crowded. So I'm very blessed, as I said before. I have a lot of space in my wardrobe, so I have room to not worry about things getting all too creased up and stuff like that. But the hangers will give it a little bit more space as well. So once you have it ironed, you don't have to worry about that. The last bit of storage I want to go into depth with is my belts, and this is the back of my door. But I got this storage again on Amazon, and it just hangs on the door, and this is all my spare belts. Some of them is simply because I have extras of them, like these black ones here. They came with my favorite Anusta trousers, and I actually have 3 of them lying there. They're the exact same. And then when I go to Primark, for instance, and I find belts that I really love, and I know that I'm going to be wearing them out, but they are basic belts, I have bought a spare one of each of them, and they lie here as well. And then I have the colorful ones. Not that I have a lot of colorful ones, kind of different style ones, and I don't use them that much, hence why they're lying here. And then some of them loses their little belt loop, so I just save them all in there, just extra belt loops. So, but yeah, that is the extra belts that I have, or the ones that I don't use so much. And I'm just going to open the door here. You might hear the babies coming running or anything, but here on my door, this door is normally always open. And this is how I store my belts. So I got these hooks, again, on Amazon, and they just hang on the door. And I can move them about. And again, I have everything color coordinated. So this, I don't know if this kind of like is an order that makes sense, but I don't wear my white ones and cream ones very much. So they hang over here to this side. And then I have a few colorful ones that I wear, my burgundy ones, and then we go into browns, and then we go into blacks. And I have both mainly gold buckles, but I have some silver ones in there as well. So this is kind of the order that I have them hanging in. But it's easy storage, and when I'm getting dressed, it's very easy for me just to pick out the belt that I want to wear for the day, and I can see it because, as I say, the ones behind the door, I don't wear them so much. I hope you have enjoyed a little peek into my wardrobe. I am blessed with a lot of space, and obviously with my job I do have probably more clothes than many people have, but it's all about having the pieces that you love, that have the perfect fit for your body and for your body shape, and pieces, in my personal opinion, that can mix and match in the style that you prefer. But that is it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and if you have any questions at all, please just leave them in the comments for me. And if you do me a favor and leave me an orange heart for today as well, just to let me and the algorithm know that you enjoyed my content enough to stay to the end. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.